single island of Easter Island, and that is clearly step pyramid runes and a complex not well talked about or documented, but I assure you it is there. And also on this picture, the supposed land of Mu, the lost continent before Atlantis, that connected all of the Polynesian, Micronesian, different, islands in a giant landmass. And, well, there's lots of evidence. And part of Mu is also right here. This is in part of Indonesia here. And there are documented at least 100 different pyramids in Indonesia, the most famous being Guan Pandang. And it's now also being aged from the 24, I believe, to 36,000 year carbon dating within it, and Graham Hancock covering it in his new series on Netflix, been investigating it for a while. But this is a different pyramid. There's several of these stepped mountain pyramids in Indonesia, and they're part of Arthur Farham's geoglyphology work, and that he's found that they're geoglyphs sites, and that the specific angles, that's why these aren't four-faced perfect pyramids, but in fact these pyramids actually are showing geoglyphs in their sides and architecture. So we're going to be hopping all over today, looking at different artifacts, this one out of Sumeria, and how advanced of a lost ancient civilization it truly is, as are the relics and what it depicts. And is some of it technology? Is some of it depicting pre-cataclysm megafauna? Or is it also depicting demigods or aliens, potentially? And now hopping back to the Americas, and throughout the Badlands of, North America, Central America, South America, there are very, very suspect sites, and the most famous being the Grand Canyon temple complexes and pyramids. We will be having a look at some of them. This one, I am not sure, maybe Arizona or Utah here, but again, I believe Utah, maybe Monument National Park, if that's correct, maybe New Mexico, but I believe this one's called Factory Butte, if I'm correct. And well, it does look like a giant factory or castle pre-cataclysm, right? If it was giants, if it was just a giant civilization, well advanced, and then ruined by catastrophe, maybe plasma apocalypse, maybe nuclear war, maybe something else, and then left for tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years to erode and be weathered naturally. This is what we're left with. But most likely inside of all of these, we will find very interesting remnants. And speaking of remnants of a past civilization, look at this in India. These pyramidal temples and what look like clear fractal antenna array, some sort of energy transmission, harvesting, or projection happening at the very top of these structures. Here we have some of the mountain cave cities of Cappadocia, Turkey. Literal inhabited, hollowed out cave mountains that have been lived in for at least thousands, if not tens of thousands of years. And in this region, you have these mountain cave cities, hill cities, and then underneath them, such sites as Derinkuyu, the underground hollowed out cities. So who knows how deep they go, how far they extend, and where they really are, what they really are. And shout out Came Cosby. I love these ancient history and archaeological episodes. Open my minds to a great bandwidth, right? And once you have a new set of eyes, a new perspective of seeing what we really have hidden in plain sight, and that there's similar structures to these mountain cities in Cappadocia, Turkey, throughout, well, all of the Americas, yet they try to claim they're natural. Here we have some mountain pyramids in, oh my goodness, it will come back. I've got another picture of these in this selection that actually has the name of the islands. Kola Islands, I believe. I believe these pyramid mountains right here are in the Kola Peninsula of the Kola Islands. This, I believe, is Secret Canyon. I'm pretty sure, and it's this river enters into the Colorado River and into the Grand Canyon, and just all of these areas look so suspicious. And is it all artificially created from a past previous mega civilization? I really am starting to suspect so. Like, these look like the ruins of former, statues and polygonal megalithic works that look like blockwork, look like megalithic ruins from a past time. And, well, I suspect that's exactly what they are. For instance, here in Arches National Park, Arizona, there's just so many of these, and they're just so impossible to claim that nature made these. Yes, nature weathered them. Yes, they've been eroded, but to get these perfect circle, it's so impossible for them to have not broken and to have perfectly eroded in such spots. It doesn't make sense. And, well, what would make sense is if they were from a past previous civilization. Here we have more of the Cappadocian mountain cities, cave cities, and these are skyscrapers. These are essentially ancient skyscraper buildings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, at least 9, more like 10 or 11 probably stories tall, and that they're hollowed out with built like caves and just inhabitants throughout. These are ancient cave buildings. Here we have a picture from some of the Badland Canyons, maybe Colorado, maybe Utah, maybe New Mexico, maybe Nevada, maybe Arizona, the whole area. Very, very suspect. As well, we've got a few of these pole maps here to look at, the Mercator maps. And what are they actually depicting? Are they depicting an entrance to a hollow earth? That's what they claim to be of that time. And, Friesland, an island that no longer exists, but the Oralinda book documenting the history of Friesland and when was it lost. These balancing rocks, how is that eroded? It's just, it has to be a construct constructed, engineered, and remnants of a previous glorious civilization. And the legends of the indigenous claim like the gods made them, the star people, or previous civilizations, or giants from before the flood. And well, I suspect they're correct. That it just, how does nature erode like that and just leave these perfect balanced rocks? They don't. Here we have some Mayan Olmec glyphs or hieroglyphs, and very, very interesting how much information is encoded in these, what they mean, how similar they are to some Egyptian as well as Asian ones. Here we have another butte in the Southwest America, in the Canyonlands. Again, how does nature erode these perfect 90-degree rectangle structures? It doesn't make sense. Water, wind, they erode round corners. Everything is round in what they make, not square, right? Like, it makes no sense to claim that they're naturally made like that. Here we have some original pictures of Egypt and the temples that are found, which, like, just an absolute destruction and ruin, but epic proportions and sizes. And here you can see the base structure, giant megalithic block, and then on top of it, what's next? Someone built these mud brick structure on top of it that clearly eroded and didn't last nearly as long as what was built beneath. How does that happen unless the older civilizations were more advanced? And then I believe this is in Italy. There's a couple of these with these crazy Roman fresco floors just being dug out of the mud ground in jungle or in forest, right? Like, look at that. Just layers and layers upon dirt, grass, and perfect floors that were just covered and lost. What happened? How did they get ruined like that? It makes no sense. This, I believe, is Utah, maybe New Mexico. Again, very, very suspect geology in these Badlands. Just very strange. Very strange. And these look like guardians. They look like weathered faces, weathered giant colossus statues, and they look like they have carved figures in them. No doubt, these faces, when depicted with the shadows of the equinoxes or solstices, probably highlight exponentially better definition of the actual characters being depicted in them, leftovers from previous civilizations. Speaking of leftovers from previous civilizations, throughout Asia, India, we have, what the heck are these, right? Like, very fascinating depictions, carvings on here. And Like, what is this other than a fractal array antenna slash mass energy device? Like, it just boggles the mind. Were these filled with mercury? Lots of them were, apparently. And just to give you a sense of scale, here's a bunch of the locals sitting around. What's that? A little cart, maybe a cannon. Very low tech of the locals, yet somehow the people before them made these. And so if this person's standing up, that comes to here. No, looks like the door's a little bit bigger. Who knows? Maybe giant, not sure. Here we have some balls of Costa Rica. These giant balls showing up everywhere. These ones looking more like granite or dolerite as opposed to the sandstone ones that I found in Alberta. And, well, that makes them all the more mysterious because, well, granite and dolerite do not form in circles, perfect spheres, and that's one heck of a hard rock to have to carve. All right, we're back in the Grand Canyon. This is one of the temple or pyramid complexes, very pyramidal in shape. Another very pyramidal shape, and all looking, sorry for the low res of this picture, but what appeared to be terraces and possible megalithic block construct with then tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years of erosion. And here you can see where these two giant supports and then building roof that connected the two, possibly. I believe that one's Shiva temple, could be wrong. Here we go. This one's in Italy for sure. A Roman mosaic floor randomly found in a vineyard. Just perfect floor with a vineyard growing over top of it. How does this happen? Some say mud flood. Some say giant tsunami. Probably potentially both. Here we have an abandoned leftover Starfort castle, literally up in the mountains. So uninhabitable, so harsh environment to be constructing up there. How was this built in the time period that they claim with the resources that they claim? And like, these look like megalithic blocks. That's something that's not really discussed so much, but the giant blocks that make up a lot of castles, well, are they pre-cataclysm potentially? Another very anomalous balancing rock. I believe this one is in Colorado in Garden of the Gods. It's also, I think it was mislabeled in one of the photos I got saying that it was Utah in Moab, but I'm pretty sure this is Colorado Garden of the Gods. Again, I see faces everywhere. Is it pareidolia or is it leftover remnants of a previous civilization? And are there underground cities under all of these? Are there potential reptoids living under them? Who knows? here we have a carved Incan or Aztec or Mayan rock map that clearly has Mu on it. And that's Africa, Europe, Middle East, Red Sea. It looks like the Suez Canal is already there. Or very strange. Oh no, that's South America. Very strange. But we have Mu there at some point. Interesting. Again, at Arches National Park, I believe Arizona. How does this form naturally? How do you have perfect 90-degree angles constructing perfect arches? It makes zero sense how they claim erosion made these. I suspect leftover bridges from a previous macro terraformed civilization, looking like polygonal megalithic blockwork, potentially wow, forgot the word I'm looking for. It'll come back to me. All right, next picture. Mount Kailash. Potential pyramid right here, potential pyramid up here, and legends of a god being buried beneath it, and what looks like very similar structures to what we see in the Grand Canyon next to it. Like, are these massive temple buildings or stacked pyramids? I suspect so, as do the locals. Monument Valley, Utah. Well, are they monuments from a past civilization? They really, really look like it. They're super ancient. That's all there is to it. Here we got caves. Oh, and here we are in Spain. Roman hydraulic mining site in Spain. Well, were the Romans blasting water at these ancient ruins to dig out what was inside? Probably. Oh, we got the other missing continent of Atlantis. I'm not sure if this is channeled material, most likely. Isle of Babazar, interesting. Sea of Atlantis. Ashar, interesting. Here we have one of the broken T-pillars of Göbekli Tepe. We've got the ram. We've got, what is that? An anteater potentially. And a stork or something on there. Fascinating stuff. The fact that this site was buried 11,000 years ago, that's what makes it so astonishing. How and why did they bury it 11,500 years ago? And was it to survive the Younger Dryas catastrophe event? I suspect so. Here we have, I believe, the backside of, and literally on the tip of my tongue, and I forget, it's in the Andes, it's in Peru. There's Giant Face, the mountain, the cross. Oh my gosh. It'll come to me. All right. Oh, 1652. Tartary appears to have Machu Picchu. There we go. Machu Picchu finally came to me. Here we go. This is part of the terraces of Machu Picchu. Where? Oh, it sucks. Too low of resolution. Here we have, I believe, a mountain pyramid in Wyoming. Could be wrong. Pretty sure it's Wyoming. Another of these perfect arches. Is that a perfect alignment of... And the other word I was looking for, geopolymer. Is this potential red geopolymer sandstone? Was all of this macro-made geopolymer by some ancient superior builder civilization? Potentially. Very, very potential. What looks like two kissing animals or heads, camels. I believe this one actually might be in Saudi Arabia, although it could also be in Arizona. There's a couple of them. Ooh, and here we have one of the first remaining pictures of the Colossus, I believe, in Egypt before they were moved and flooded. So why did they flood these tombs? What were they hiding? That's the only thing that makes sense. Here we have off the coast of Nazca, Peru, by all the Peruvian lines and geoglyphs, what looks like a giant fractal antenna in the side of a coastal mountain. It's absolutely huge in scale. Here we have some more original pictures of Egypt showing just how flooded and in ruins a lot of it was. And the scale of it. In India here, a temple, 2018, compared to the drawing of it in 1749. Again, was this some sort of antiquitech on top? Here we have more ruins in Arizona and caves. Caves in these hoodoos. Are they actually structures? I suspect that's exactly what we're looking at. The ruins of past ancient civilization. Speaking of which, here's an Olmec monolith in, I believe this is in the Yucatan Peninsula, somewhere in Mexico. And what's looking, pretty African, pretty Egyptian, almost pretty Sumerian, but also Aztec, Mayan, Olmec. So clearly they were a worldwide civilization that had contact and travel. And this just astounding. Is that water all around? Like, what are the purposes of such towers? Wild. And again, some sort of fractal array antenna topping. Mind-blowing, to say the least. Water clearly having something to do with the energy with it. All right, here's a good picture of some of the Grand Canyon temple action and potential pyramids. Same area where Kincaid was said to have found his underground city with oriental mummies. And why are all of these labeled as giant temples and pyramids with holy names if that's not what they are? It's because it's exactly what they are. Ancient, past megastructures. This, I believe, is in either Arizona or Utah. Skull Rock, looking like a giant elongated skull. This, I'm not sure if it is real or if that is AI. Probably AI. Is this Bryce Canyon in the US? Also very, very suspect. Bryce Canyon National Park, just as suspect and incredible as the Grand Canyon sites. Here we have a drawing depicting the original excavation of the Sphinx and showing these giant tablets that were carved in front of it and that supposedly lowered down behind into an entrance. What happened to them? And why did they cover it up? Here's some more of Machu Picchu and showing just this macro terraforming of terraces all over these mountains. Just wild. So extreme. This, what was it called? I believe it was a Babylonian image, but might not have been. But like, that is looking pretty portal-like. And is this how they activated those the portal stone doors? Maybe a couple reverberating, resonating things here, and then the main one in the center, and resonates, reverberates open, potentially. Okay, that is more recent. Here we go. This somewhere might be China, might be Kazakhstan. Definite giant pyramid mountain. Like, that's wild. That's a crazy pyramid. That needs to be investigated further. Here we have somewhere in Central America, just throughout the forests everywhere, lost pyramid civilizations. This one, I believe, is in India, in Dodap area. Again, very, very suspect pyramid mountain, and legends, locals claim that demigods built them and are buried inside. Here we got a clear rock face. You like the rock face? All right, so here is one of the cave entrances into the underground cities of the Grand Canyon complexes. This is the Colorado River, and Boom, up you go. There's the entrance in. How can you deny? Is that where Kincaid's entrance was? No, there's many of them. Here we have some of the waterways in the Andes. Another giant arches, perfect arches. And like, look at this, perfect terraces, perfect parallel blockage going there. And I just don't see how nature could erode like that. It doesn't make sense. What makes more sense is them being leftovers of a previous civilization. Hey, thanks, Mo Sin. All right, letting the hair out today. And shout out Dragon Sage. All right, so this right here, some of the from above Nazca lines. This one, the hummingbird lines. And that is a giant desert below, and these are geoglyphs. Why is my mouse doing that? Oh, God. All right. There we go. Okay, hummingbirds. And another giant pyramid fort. How was this all carved out? Oops. Ah. Why the heck? There we go. Okay, look at that. Giant moat all the way around. And that is a pyramidal mountain with giant temples on top. Wild. And the star forts, starfort bastions. This is in India. Mind-blowing scope of size. Why does it keep doing this? All right, there we go. A butte somewhere in the Badlands of America. Another picture of the Egyptian temples before they were moved and flooded. But they took these guys out. What was behind it that is now filled with water? What did they cover up? Because this is all dammed under huge amounts of water. What are they hiding? That's pretty epic waterfall coming out of, well, is that a building? Former building? Who knows? These definitely are. They're in Mexico, in Mazatlan. Here's another picture of the Skull Rock Monuments Park. What are these actually? How does nature erode a perfect little balanced rock? Or are we going to find that there's a giant metal rod in there and it was manufactured a long time ago? You never know. Megalithic ruins of Peru. Why can't I remember the name of the city? Cusco, I believe. It was Cusco, Peru, I think. Just wild in size. Where was this from? Why the heck? There we go. Okay. Clearly blocks upon blocks, giant mounds. I believe this is actually in either Mexico or maybe Brazil. But here they're showing some excavated portions and giant megalithic blockwork within it. And they're looking like ziggurats almost from, the Mesopotamia, but that's Mesoamerica. And that looks like a building with giant entrance going up and all. I believe also Monument Park. Again, Arches National Park. How does that erode? It doesn't make sense. But what makes more sense is if it was a previous leftover construct from a past ancient super civilization. Very famous photo. I believe this is either in Peru, Mexico. Yeah, definitely. And an excavation. Look at what they found. Just wild. And how does this make sense? How do the castles and towers of Europe make sense? And why do they also have these archways? There's too many coincidences and matching archaeological and engineering around the world, like architecture, just doesn't make sense. And look at how these pyramids were found. Just an absolute ruin. Something happened. Right? Man, I need to interview Klaus Donna. Shout out to Klaus Don. Great researcher. Found so many parts. Here we got some Babylonian, I believe. And look at how different this script is. I think this rock is in Saudi Arabia or Jordan. But what freaking language is that? That's just mind-blowing. What are we actually looking at? Why are sections removed? And who are these guys and girls? What is that depicting? Yes, definitely check out Klaus Donna. Absolutely next level work. Again, here we are looking over the Grand Canyon. Why is everything looking like megalithic blocks? Like everything looks like giant blocks everywhere. And Isis Temple. Another giant building temple. Right? Like, how? How did nature erode that perfect hole in a roof? Like, no, that's the leftover wall roof of a building. How else do you explain that? Like, sorry, nature didn't erode that. Again, Mount Kailash. And the other little pyramid off the side. Supposedly might be where the entrance is. And Russian scientists claiming that you get 2 weeks worth of hair growth and nail growth when you're around Mount Kailash in a day, and it accelerates aging. Again, another angle of Mount Kailash, and, well, more of these energy structures made of gold. That's on the Tibetan side, I believe. Here we go. Just an old house, and buried beneath. What do we have here? Double stories of tunnels and building, like road just eroded away and you got a building below. Fascinating. This, I believe, is a picture from in Siberia somewhere. Just a random pyramid top sticking out of the tundra. More of Machu Picchu right here. I believe it's either Machu Picchu or one of the adjacent mountain areas or cities. Either way, just spectacular. Here's another photo of Mount Kailash. Another one of these crazy arches. And are they remnants of former giant buildings? I really do suspect so. Because how did water and air erode those? I believe this was called an ice building in Iran. Looks like a circular step pyramid building to me. And then you have these former inhabited micro cities in the canyons. What happened to them and the people that used to inhabit them? All right, this one, the Baluchistan Sphinx complex, very, very interesting site in Pakistan, and what resembles some similar temple pyramid looking action and a potential sphinx. And what we'll see, right? Just super old, eroded, but yeah, clear pillars. What looks like eroded building. Baluchistan, Pakistan site. This is in either Bryce Canyon or Grand Canyon. Again, very suspect. And that's rock cut. That didn't erode. I think it's called Four Sacred Pools site. And are these ancient guardian monuments? Colossus. I suspect so. All right, these are wild ooparts. These are in it's mountain / pyramid mountain in China, being excavated, dated to at least 150,000-year-old pipes. And there's a few different pictures of them I'll be going through here. This being waterworks in the Andes. This Also in Bryce Canyon, what looks like potential figures, carving statues, and old castle wall, maybe. I don't know. Darien Kuyu in Cappadocia, Turkey, and these giant stone doors that to block people from getting through, or something to get through, apparently. Then we have more Aztec, Mayan, Olmec pyramid ruins in the Americas being reclaimed from the jungle. How many more remain hidden underneath the jungles? Here we have more of Cappadocia and the mountain hill cave cities of Cappadocia being inhabited thousands of years, and then similar sites in the Americas, but no, they're not. They're natural. They're not man-made. Yet this is literally what exists underneath these. So how far do they go? How big is it? Who actually made them? Just so many questions. Another angle of Mount Kailash. What appears to be potential step pyramid action. Some more totem guardians in the Americas, monuments. Sailfish, supposedly the name of this one in I believe Utah. Another close-up of giant rock skull monument park. Very suspect ruins. And here we have another Olmec or Aztec or Mayan headdress, and that's looking kind of pharaoh-ish. And is that a beard being depicted down there? Almost Asiatic. Fascinating as F. Very suspect. Another one of the monuments in the Grand Canyon with the Colorado River going underneath. And of course, if you haven't seen my episode on the Grand Canyon ruins, that at the time these were inhabited, this would have been one giant super lake where you would have just been sailing from pyramid structure to temple structure over and over. Another one of the arches in Arches National Park. Very, very suspect geology, to say the least. And why are these areas no-go zones? And why are there maps of a larger Antarctica with South America just about touching the tip? Africa over here, and the 4 islands around the North Pole. This was before, oh yeah, Australia still being part of Antarctica in this. Terra Australis. These maps predating the discovery of Antarctica, yet showing clearly mapped out land masses from a previous time, pre-cataclysm, what the world looked like. All right, some more of the Grand Canyon complexes. And pyramids all over the place. And these more of ancient Egypt. Some of the first pictures just showing it in absolute ruin and devastation. Like, how was it built? How were these built? And this is what they were found as. This in Mexico, I believe, Chichen Itza. Just absolute ruin when it was found. Here we have a Chinese pyramid with something clearly on top. And these temples, what the heck were they actually for, and what do they do? Because it's too complex not to have functionality. Just mind-blowing architecture. And that also looks like architecture, not archaeology. Or geology. Like, how is that still balancing this in Giant or Garden of the Gods, Colorado? Very suspect. Very, very suspect, to say the least. Here we are in Sudan, I believe. Nubia. Pyramids. All right, look at that. This, I guess, is called the Navajo Clown or the Hopi Clown or something. I don't know, but I don't think it's natural. That doesn't look natural. Another original picture before these were flooded. Fascinating glyphs. Just the scale and size. And why are the faces destroyed? What are they hiding? And why did they flood them? Very strange. Very, very strange. More giant terraces in, I believe this is also Peru. Hey, shout out Only Truths. Oh yeah, Palmyra is epic in Syria for sure. Sadly, ISIS destroyed a lot of it. Right? Pop them pyramid emojis up. I'm doing all right. I wouldn't say I'm doing great. They're good, but doing all right. Surviving. Definitely need more work. Haven't been this broke pretty much since the last 2 years of doing streaming, but whatever. Working on getting more job action. All right. Is this a waterfall? It looks like a waterfall coming out of this pyramid. So how is there water rushing out of the pyramid? Like, very strange. Unless it's part of their reconstruction and they're pumping it up. Not Pumapunku, not... I forget where in the Andes this is. I believe it's right by the Peru-Bolivian border. Just ridiculous in size. Here we got some more. So look at this. This is excavated out. It's at least a meter or so down that they've excavated of this guy. What is it actually showing being depicted here? Like, is this all technology? Because, like, wearing a giant freaking headdress like this in the jungle, it just doesn't seem very practical. And, like, what is this giant suit thing you're carrying around with you? Like, again, hieroglyphics carved into it, and they tried to claim there was no languages from these people. Grand Canyon from Point Imperial. Look at that. That is quite the suspect spire. And you got a nice pyramid in the background. And another pyramid in the background. And another pyramid in the background. And on the maps, all of these pyramids that you're seeing here are labeled as pyramids. So, they're admitting they are pyramids, and you're not allowed to go down there. You're not allowed to fly over it. You're not allowed to fly drones over it. You're not allowed to explore or visit those pyramids. Why? Alrighty, here we have some of the Father Crespi gold plate glyphs. Brahmi and Harpa, wow, appearing in the Father Crespi collection. So for all of those trying to claim that the native indigenous that gave Father Crespi these golden tablets of the Teos caves all those years ago somehow faked them, how the heck did they successfully translate Brahmi and Harpa languages, Harappa languages into it? It makes no sense. They couldn't have possibly faked it. There's no way of them knowing of those languages 100 years ago, yet alone somehow forging them. No, this is evidence of past global trade and civilization. Another sab? Yeah, please do. Please do. And I'm trying to find where you are so I can make you a moderator. What channel? Do you mind commenting again? Weird. Not your comments not showing in my live chat, but it's showing on here. So at least it's showing on there. All right, continue on. We've got some more Sumerian Babylonian. And look at the size of these two people compared to these ones. So why is that? And what is this flying device depicting? Eh? Very strange. All right, more monoliths in Mexico or Honduras or throughout the jungles. They find them all over. It's looking straight Asian right there. Like I don't know, very Asiatic. An elephant? Is that an elephant? Couple of elephants and an Asian? Is that what we're looking at there? You tell me. Elefante, and an Asian face, potentially. Well, that's why they cover it all up. All right, this is in Iran, just in the middle of nowhere. What the bloody heck? What? Why is it not showing all the comments? Oh, there we go. There we go. Now I found you. There's another sab. It was showing. I was just blind. Okay, now you're moderator. Let us continue. Boom. Look at that in the middle of Iran, middle of nowhere. Makes no sense. Water still pouring thousands of years later. All right, another geoglyph site from the Nazca lines from pictures above, or airplane above. And what are we truly looking at here? Very, very strange. Very suspect, to say the least. The Jed. What is it? Right, still functioning water to this day, irrigation to this day in the high Andes from the Mayans, Olmecs, Aztecs, whoever made it. Again, one of these pyramidal palace structures in India. An absolute ruin when it first photographed, missing a couple of the things up top. Are these giant energy devices? Like, are they temples sending energy up or down to the gods? Quite possible. Again, a rim. Not sure why they've cut out the background. Maybe it's because we're not allowed to see the pyramids in the background, but what we are allowed to see looks pretty block-like to me. Is it our artificial construct? Isis temple pyramid. Right, like ancient rock drainage. Way better than what we make today. Again, like these look like ruins of carvings of something or biogeology potentially, who knows, but not natural, that's for sure. Interesting language we got here. Like, who the heck is wearing that? Or is that a giant golden tuning fork on your head? Maybe. I don't know, but if you're like going to war, I just don't see how that would help you in any way, you know? Like, makes no sense. More of Bryce Canyon. Very, very suspect looking. Very strange. Again, how the heck are we supposed to believe nature eroded that without taking it all down? Because before there was a hole, it would have just dammed up and then pushed everything through. No, like it just, I don't know. All right, we got more Chinese tree-covered mountain hills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 at least. Oh, 11, 12. And where are these past towers? This is actually a real photo I got off a university site. Not sure exactly where all of these mini little pyramid sites were. I'm going to have to go back and find it, but yes, somewhere in the world this is and exists. All right, more what look like terraces all along the Grand Canyon. And then we have the pyramid complexes in the background. Pyramid, 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 potential pyramid here. All named as such, of course. Again, very, very suspect-ish geology. Very strange. And this, how does, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know. More of the Canyonlands. Some of Lake Powell. And supposedly under Lake Powell, there are cathedral rocks and stuff that are exponentially, and pyramids exponentially more magnificent than in the Grand Canyon complex. What's this little pyramid thingy? Very strange. Like, did they just build a cover to block the entrance of what's below the Sphinx? I don't know. Very strange. But yeah, we got no travel or communication between ancient civilizations, right? New Zealand, Mexico, and ancient Egypt, all depicting a very similar sky god device. Suspect, to say the least. Another pyramid mound. And another of the golden Crespi tablets given to Father Crespi in Ecuador at the turn of the last century. Very fascinating. Like, are these alchemical glyphs almost? Looking like it. And did they have a pope back then too? Maybe, eh? Interesting. Look at the size of this monolith. Up and up and up she goes. These look like hieroglyphics carved into it, just not high enough resolution, sadly. Yeah, no language whatsoever, just language carved all throughout. This is a satellite photo of a pyramid in Australia. Yes, you heard that right. Australia. Painting Grand Canyon. All right, here again, more of the crazy terraces in the Andes and just mountain cities that they made. This is the giant pyramid complex site in Mexico, now being found under the jungle through LiDAR and yet to be excavated. What are they going to find? Just wild. Oh, start there. And there's more on the other side. Wild. I guess maybe start here. Both. Very suspect. Isis Temple. Like, how can that be claimed to be natural? That's like the remnants of a wall or a giant's yard with, all his family up there. Who knows? But definitely not looking natural. Like, that looks like a building. That looks like a building. That looks like a building. It just doesn't look natural. Nor do these. They look like remnants of a past civilization. All right, so in Jordan, it's showing a certain type of rock cut, and then the same rock cut in the Assyrian and Egypt. Interesting. All right, more terraces in the Andes. And like, could you imagine when that had a roof on it and you were living there and farming this? Like, could you imagine living in that house? That's just up on a mountain, raising goats. Raising goats. Tablet of Shamash. Very interesting what is being depicted here. Like, who's he sitting on? Why are they so much smaller than him? Or Arches National Park. It kind of looks like an owl face almost. All right, here's more of these ancient Chinese pyramid pipes dated to 150,000 years old minimum from the sediment layers found in. Right, you don't see that giant block thing right here that we saw in the other pictures once this guy was dug out, excavated. More of the rivers or water irrigation on the Andes. Still operating thousands of years after construction. And lots of reported UFO action in these mesas as well. I'm like, what the heck is that? Like, were these metal that then somehow like petrified into rock or something? Like, it just, there had to be some sort of functionality to this intricacy of what looks like a fractal waveguide antenna with a giant ball of mercury on top, supposedly reported a lot of times. Literally just bricks and ruin all around. Is there a massive bombing, war? Like, just in the middle of nowhere, right? Looking very suspect, like formations in the background as well, kind of looking like Egypt slash Grand Canyon. Clearly a face. There's no way that you can argue that this is not a rock face, literally or figuratively. Yes, I was double punning. All right, so that's one heck of a buried column and one heck of a mud flood. My God, how long did it take this poor chap to dig that out with that shovel? Wild. Again, aw. Shout out to this married couple. Great spot. But that's got to be leftovers of a previous civilization. Again, is this like an eagle face? Are these caves like, is this formerly inhabited like Cappadocia? I don't know. Very suspect. And then we got what is supposedly an image of the Emerald Tablet. But it's like, where did this come from? Who took this picture? What language? There's so many questions when I see this. And did Thoth the Birdman really make that? I don't know. I need to get my hands on it, though. All right, more of Bryce Canyon. Again, these just, I don't know. Don't know. Like, looks kind of like structures. Definitely looking like the ruins of a structure right here. This is in the Grand Canyon. And that's looking like some former faces of construction. And then your inner giant megalithic blocks, potentially. Very suspect geology, to say the least. All right, from above, Teotihuacan, the Mexican city of the gods, pyramid city of the gods. Wild in scope. Like, are those flash petrified former giant mushrooms? I don't know. Here's part of Göbekli Tepe. being excavated. Again, these maps showing South America almost touching Terra de Fuego and Terra Australis, all part of Antarctica in this previous or pre-cataclysm maps. And of course, Tartaria making up pretty much all. I guess this is Asia, Tartaria up here. It still has India down there and stuff, but what can only be described as a pre-cataclysm map. Mexicana before Mexico existed. Circlus Arcticus before that should have existed. And of course, the 4 islands going around the pole. So everything else is Mexicana except for Mexico. But Gulf of Mexico is still Gulf of Mexico. Florida, like, you know how big Florida is, Chilaga, yet we don't have the Great Lakes yet. Wow, this map is something else. Peru before Peru, and it's way up in like Brazil, Ecuador, Colombia area. Wow. Fascinating map find right here. Like Chilaga, right where Chicago would be, but without the Great Lakes. America. A gamma? Huh. Very, very interesting map. And the mysterious site of Egypt. I guess this is like the blown up pyramid or something, they say or call it. This is on Malta, the largest megalithic site in Malta from above. Very interesting. All right, another one of these maps. Pretty much the same one, only it's also got the bottom where Terra Australis is still connected to Antarctica. So once again, these are clearly pre-cataclysm maps being copied before they've gone back out and explored it all. And that they're just copying the information Mexicana. So that's where they got Mexico and Canada from, I guess, apparently. Something else. That's a bridge. Like, that's a bridge. And that is a giant monolith totem. Just out in the middle of nowhere, just standing there. All sorts of language, hieroglyphs carved on the sides. Fascinating. This big monolithic megalithic rock carving. And we got a funnel going off the top of the pyramid of Teotihuacan. This pyramid site again in Mexico. More of the terraces of the Andes, farming them mountainsides. Looking pretty building-ish. Just 100,000 or 20,000 years of erosion. Here we have another star fort, perfect star fort, out in the desert. I believe it's either Jordan or Libya or something like that. And they're all over the world, and identical design from a time before this time. I see some faces. Just how did this hole erode without knocking this down? It makes no sense. And yet you have another hole underneath it. Like, no, that doesn't happen naturally. It doesn't make sense. All right, Isis pyramid. No, not high enough res. Mount Kailash. So this is interesting how they're fading this island out and replacing it with a bunch of smaller ones. Like, did this somehow... They're exploring here now, and this no longer exists. And is this Devon Island above Canada? Potentially, I suspect so. Here we have the Towers of Tibet, the Star Towers of Tibet. Like, what functionality? Why would you make it? Like, it doesn't make sense unless they had other functions. Again, the 4 big islands making up the North Pole. Like, is that Hudson's Bay is just a giant freaking thing down? And here's still the lake with Norumbega there. There's the Norumbega Lake. Oh, wow. This is totally pre-cataclysm map. Wild. Very wild. The information we find hidden out there. Again, are these ruins that have just been extremely weathered? Are these former buildings that have just gone through petrification and catastrophism and hundreds, if not or thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years of erosion? Do we have another face? I'm not sure. Very strange. I believe this is also Garden of the Gods, Colorado, with the Cathedral Rock or Cathedral Monument. Actual name that it is called. I'm not just making that up. Look at these perfect rectangular formations. Water wind doesn't do that. See, like, this is how it erodes. Rounded. What pyramid we got right there? That'd be a pyramid for show. Even labeled as such. Mount Kailash Pyramid. Carlsbad Caverns National Park. right? Like, are these the insides of buildings that are remaining that we found? Potentially. More of the Nazca lines. Here they've literally cut off the entire top of a mountain range. Like, this is several mountain peaks that they have taken the tops off of to make this giant runway. Giant runway in the coastal desert mountains of Peru, Nazca, Peru. Like, what the heck is this? Very strange. I don't know. Is that even a real picture? Is that AI generated? Not sure. Not making any claims on that one. This looks like structures and layers. Definitely that is former building. That's what I see there. And here we have the catacombs below Paris. I don't see any bones, but I do see caved out cities. Like, these are carved out rock cities underneath Paris. This is the official catacombs. Strange, eh? Oh, very pyramidal structures. Look in there. I believe this is called Nimrod's Castle in Israel. Looks like a giant dam. I don't know. Another pyramid looking thing on Devon Island. I'm not sure. The pyramid right there. Peak right there. Pyramid there. Like, how is that natural? It's like a, well, like, what? Very suspect. Like, what were these temples used for? I really don't know. A small Yucatan. Wild sight. And here we go. Here's Isis Temple before they covered up the cave system in it, the giant entrance that somehow grew a wall when an airplane hit it. The first time in history that a giant cavern opening turned into a wall when it was struck by an airplane. Yes, you heard that right. You can now go and see that this is a giant wall, and that when they closed down the Grand Canyon in the late 50s, early 60s, because of an airplane crash, magically a wall appeared covering up the giant arch entrance of Isis Temple. So yeah, there's also that. We got, this is a pyramid site in Scotland. You can see terracing on the adjacent hills. This is dubbed the astronaut guy, also in the Peruvian coastal mountain lands, the geoglyph sites there. Thank you, Gold Coast Lady. Appreciate that. Here we got someone hiking, and boom! Oh, it looks like a couple pyramids on top of the mountain there. And we got a pyramid on top of a pyramid mountain. I believe this is in Dodap area, India again. And Nazca lines, we've got the stork. And clearly, you had to be able to see from above in order to make these. And just the scale and size of this, it's inexplicable, it's impossible, and it breaks the narrative so much. These are the Nazca lines. Here again, Ecuador, Peru, the Crespi collection, another one of the golden tablets. Who is that sorcerer? Come on. Oh, no. There we go. Okay. Now it's working. Pyramid potentially here. Pyramid up here. And they are also labeled as such. This is the Grand Canyon complex site. Ooh. We got a Stig. Good day, Stig. David Stig joining in. How are you?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, my friend.
All right. Well, I got home and I knew you were online because I was wow. Now I'm live. How many people are watching?
We got 44 right now. It's not a whole lot.
All right. Yeah. Subscribe to Stig. I need it. I'm gonna give up on YouTube very soon. I'm serious about this. I'm so close.
Right?
I mean, YouTube is just playing me. And like I said, thanks for the invite. And I was on the road when you first started communicating on the email, and I was like, I don't have any bandwidth. Check my history. I can't even log on and do a live stream through OBS. I'd probably start using StreamYard. I should.
Yeah, StreamYard's pretty good, right? Like it gives a lot more, or it's easier to get in with and stuff. Have you looked through?
I've been listening to the last like 10 minutes of your. I started on my phone, and then I got home and I pulled it up, and I'm like, oh look, you invited me, and I kept clicking the buttons, and here I am.
Nice.
I should have put my sunglasses on. Where are my sunglasses? Oh wait, here they are. I got them.
So, good one. So I've almost been going for 2 hours now. I was just about to wind down, but now you've joined.
What do we want to talk about real quick, and then we can wind down. I didn't want to stay on for. Trust me, I don't even understand your system. You were talking about getting online a few days ago. Yeah, right there, man-made, right? Or I shouldn't say man-made, but
something made.
Something
right?
made, yeah. And I saw the one you were showing. Oh, just a minute ago. I got such a good one for you right now. I'm going to share my desktop with you, but I'm going to pull it up so I have it ready. But the mound you showed in India just now, I can show you aligned mounds just like that one. And that mound is aligned with mounds over at the Rashat structure where I went 3 times. 3 times.
They're aligned, really aligned.
Yeah, I'm gonna give them to you right now, but I got to share the desktop.
Share your screen by all means.
I'll tell you what. Let me get it ready first. Finish what you were saying. You're showing some stuff. What is that? What country?
So that was this. Oops, sorry. This one I believe is Russia, and we got what looks like a pyramid right there, and a really old really old building.
Okay, so you've been saying pyramid. I've been like, well, maybe a mound.
Mounds. But I assume that most mounds are just a buried pyramid. So that.
Yeah. Well, okay. I don't know about, but then you mentioned the terracing, and I can show you terracing all over South Africa. I'm going to open it up in Google Drive because I forgot that I updated it.
Yeah, please do. Please.
So you're going to wind down. How long do you usually go for? We got 10 minutes?
Yeah, about that. If AI is going to take
10
over,
minutes.
But
AI.
We could go way longer. No, like if I do it under 2 hours, then StreamYard lets me have an AI feature that makes a whole bunch of shorts at the click of a button. But
That sounds like
we
a
can
good
go
idea.
longer now that you're here and just make some epic content because you're awesome.
Okay,
So don't feel
so
like
I just went to the Sage Wall, right?
yes,
Where's
you
your
did.
chat? You don't have any. Where are we? StreamYard.
Yeah.
Do you have a chat going on? You can watch the chat. I don't want to look at it anyways. But I just went to Sage Wall, and you know what? I'm sorry I didn't invite you along. I'm going back up there because the reason why I had to come down because I have a dental implant popped out of my mouth in Montana. And then that picture right there, that picture you're showing of the Sphinx, I really believe if you look at the head, how dark the head is, it's totally different material. That's cement, and it's on top of the limestone or the limestone.
Yeah,
and that's cement. That's cement, and you can see right under the chin where the light-colored limestone gets covered up with the cement. I believe they cut off the okay, maybe the lion's head from 30,000 years ago fell apart, decayed, didn't look good anymore. It had a big nose, it fell off. So the Egyptians are like, we're going to just make this ours. And then they put that head on it and they made it of their emperor, right? They didn't do it. What happened? Why am I freaking out over here? Okay, I got it now. Okay, let me put this over here. That's StreamYard. You're watching the chat. If anybody has any questions, please subscribe to my channel at Stig.
Well, if if you want to go for like half hour, you can go live on your channel right now.
Let's see how far we go. Do we want to talk about the megaliths or do we want to talk about Atlantis? I'm sorry, the Rishat structure. I went there. I went to the Rishat structure in February, March. I was there Valentine's Day, February. I was there Valentine's Day. I'm gonna figure out how to share my desktop.
Yeah, share screen at the bottom. Yeah,
share screen.
And then
that's what we want right there. I think. Let's try
then there's a couple different tabs, and you might want window, or you might want tab, or you might
wait a minute. I didn't see that. I know what you're talking about, but I didn't see that. I just went for this. I got it showing. Can you see it or share it?
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're good. Perfect. Boom.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'm in the desert. Okay, let's see if I can get rid of that. I can't? Okay, well, whatever. That's a That's okay.
Nice.
That's my view. That's me in the Temple of Xoloitzcuintli. Sorry, I said it again. I made that mistake again. Man, maybe I should get a drink. It's the Temple of Quetzalcoatl.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was like 2 years old, and at that temple in Mexico, they didn't have the rules set yet, so they let me all the terraces.
Look at that. That's awesome, man.
All the terraces in Asia reused, all the terraces all over the world. Start with South Africa. I went to